What's going on, guys? This is Corey from Lion Dads. I help my fellow dads get back in shape and get healthy with a carnivore diet and back to basics exercise. In today's video, I want to talk to you guys about my thoughts on counting calories, kind of talk about if I do it, situations where I might implement calorie counting back into my overall health and fitness plan. And do I recommend it for my fellow dads like you out there who may be asking the same question about counting calories as they're getting into a carnivore diet? So before we get into it, as always, I want you guys to go down and hit like and hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment down below and kind of let me know if calorie counting is something that you've thought about, or if it's a question that you've had about implementing into your carnivore diet, if you think it's necessary, etc. So first of all, I want to talk about calories a little bit. I know it's always, when you're in the kind of getting into the diet space, people kind of always will tell you calories are the only thing that really matters, or it's all about calories, calories this, calories that. And I have made videos on calories in the past. You can go into my history and find them. And do I think that, there's a lot of people out there that'll tell you they don't think calories are real or that they really matter or something to that extent. And obviously, I think I've been pretty vocal about the fact that I think, yes, calories matter. They are a real thing, and obviously it makes common sense that you need to be putting energy in your body and you need to be expending that energy as well. And if you're putting more energy in than you're using, then that's just going to get stored some way for later, and that is obviously stored as fat typically, right? So as a unit of energy and all that, calories do matter. You need to be burning more calories than you're putting in. But it isn't quite just as simple as calories in, calories out. Because if that was the case, if calories are the only thing that mattered, we would be able to live on chocolate cake, and walk around and be totally fine, totally normal. Everything would be great because calories are the only thing that mattered, right? Or we could live on donuts, or we could live on broccoli, or we could live on whatever. And the truth of the matter is that not all calories are created equal. There's different nutrient content in different kinds of food. So it's not so simple as calories in, calories out, like most people will tell you, because you need to make sure, that you're eating macro and micronutrients that are going to help your life, help you sustain your life and, maximize your potential as a human being. And it's not so simple as just bringing in energy and putting out energy. So what I'm going to ask, the first question people ask me is, do I count calories? And I've said before plenty of times in the past, that was, when I was really heavy, when I first started trying to lose a lot of weight, which is ultimately what brought me here in the first place. That was one of the first strategies I implemented, was counting calories. It was what I was told mattered, and I was eating a lot of the wrong kind of foods, and not the most nutrient dense foods. And I did see results in weight loss, but I also saw results and I was tired as hell all the time, and I didn't feel good, and I wasn't losing the type of weight that I wanted to lose. I started getting kind of like skinny fat and things like that. And even when I started a carnivore diet, I did it with some calorie counting and things like that. And I think, there was a lot of trial and error involved that first year and a half of me doing this before I really found that I could just eat and eat and eat. And, I didn't really need to count calories to get the results that I wanted. So do I count calories now? I typically do not. I typically just free eat my carnivore meals. I try to avoid snacking depending on what my goals are. It's been a lot easier to learn to maintain a sort of control over my diet when eating this way than I normally do with carbs. When I used to eat carbs, those are circumstances where I definitely would track calories and macros and things like that. But on this diet, I'm confident that every meal is nutrient dense. I'm getting the amount of protein, the amount of fats, the amount of vitamins, minerals, iron, all that other kind of stuff that I need to live to the best of my ability to keep my body running efficiently. And, I kind of can just make adjustments on the fly from there without really having to rely on a calorie tracking app. Like I said, I do, later on in time, like when I have certain goals and stuff, I might implement different strategies such as, intermittent fasting and cutting out snacks and things like that. But typically, no, I don't count calories. Honestly, I don't want to count calories. I don't like bothering with it. It's kind of, to me, it's a pain in the ass to have to get on the app all the time and go hunting online for calorie content of food, scanning barcodes, really having to think about it. And it was one thing that just would turn me off from dieting to begin with, is just sitting here and having to think about calorie this, calorie that, macro this, macro that. If I get a chicken sandwich from somewhere, what's the protein versus the carbs versus the fat? How many calories does the bread have? How many calories is the chicken? Should I take this whole shit apart and weigh it and all this kind of stuff? And I just don't want to do all that. I literally don't want to do all that. That's one of the beautiful things about this diet, this way of eating, is I just I whip stuff together, I cook it up, and I eat it, is part of the trade-off that I don't get carbs, whatever. I guess that's part of it. You got to sacrifice something somewhere, but I don't even look at that as a sacrifice anymore. There's so many alternatives that I can do where I make things that are, carnivore versions of other food that are just fine to me. I ate pizza last night. You know what I mean? And it was just as delicious as any other pizza I've ever had, and far more satiating and nutritious. So I really don't see a reason to consider, losing out on the carbs and negative anymore. I feel better. And as a bonus, I don't have to count calories and all that stuff and keep track of macros. And like I said before, not all calories are created equal. So you might, counting calories, you kind of fall in a trap. Well, I can get away with eating this and I can get away with eating that. And then next thing you know, you've eaten less protein, but you've eaten more of this other thing, and it kind of can happen that way. And then you got to think ahead. Well, I need to make sure I get more protein in tomorrow to make up for what I missed out on today. It's just a lot of mental gymnastics, and you can sit here and call me lazy or whatever. It's not that hard or what. I don't give a shit. I've got 3 kids. I've got a business I'm running. I've got all kinds of stuff that I'm doing. I'm too busy and happy and fulfilled at life a person to want to sit and screw around with a calorie counting app and thinking about my macros and calories and worrying about having to starve myself tomorrow because I ate too much today and all the kind of crap that I used to go through with it. And the honest truth about why I really typically don't count calories, honestly, guys, is I just haven't needed to. Like I said, when I started out on carnivore, I kind of was counting calories a little bit, and it was kind of, the same kind of pain in the ass, but it kind of just showed me after a while, like I could eat a little more. And because I'm eating the right kind of foods, I'm eating nutritious stuff that my body's using, I could get away with eating a whole lot more. I'm telling you guys, I go weeks at a time eating 4,000, almost 5,000 calories a day, and I don't gain weight. I don't gain excessive body fat. You know what I mean? If I gain weight, it's like a pound and it's gone quick. You know what I mean? And I just feel better for it anyway. So it hasn't really been an issue where I say, man, I really need to sit and count all my damn calories. It's really not a thing that I've really needed. So are there situations where I might count calories? And the answer to that is, yeah, there are. Let's say, for example, I'm kind of going through it right now where I have a vacation coming up. I got my wife's birthday coming up, and then it was our 20 years. So we're kind of doing this whole big beach type, vacation where the shirt's going to be off and all that kind of stuff. And, I'm a bigger guy, bigger framed guy. So it's not like I just walk around carrying a 6-pack naturally all the time. That's not my body type. So I may, for me, need to dial things back a little bit. I guess it's like endomorphic. Is that what I am? But so I might find situations like that coming up where I do need to maybe kind of dial back and kind of expend a lot more energy than what I'm taking in to kind of get that little last bit of body fat off that's kind of hiding the, I'm not a guy trying to get under like 10% body fat and be like, bodybuilder showroom shredded or whatever the hell. I'm not that dude, but just to kind of go out there and make sure that I really, really look good. My wife can go out there and be like, hey, look what I got, kind of a deal. That's kind of a situation where I might do it. But like I said, I've got other things that I implement first. Like I've done a video on what I think about intermittent fasting, and if I think it's necessary. So most of the year I don't do intermittent fasting. I'm trying to keep weight on. I'm trying to get stronger. I'm trying to get bigger. I like, not like I like carrying excessive body fat, but when you go to lower body fat settings, like it can kind of disrupt your hormone balance and things like that. So I just like to stay kind of even keeled at what my body likes to be at, and that just keeps I've noticed over the last few years that just kind of keeps me running at an optimal level. So that's always something to think about, is do I want to get really totally shredded or peeled and sacrifice hormonal stuff, or stay at my set point and maybe just make minor tweaks and adjustments from there. But if I'm seeing certain results that I'm not happy with, just from doing my normal routine, which really hasn't happened much, I will make adjustments, and it's typically maybe peeling the fat back and eating more protein, or vice versa. Maybe I'm not getting enough fat in and I need to eat a little more fat, less protein, things like that. I'll do some of the fasting first, things like that. And then if it really comes down to, all right, man, it's crunch time, I've got like a month, 2 months left, and I really need to see some results, I might short term implement some MyFitnessPal calorie counting pain in the ass stuff that I just don't like bothering with. All right, so do I think that my fellow dads, you guys out there, should count calories? In the situations like I've kind of discussed, sure. But if you're just beginner, if you're just getting started on finding this carnivore diet and trying to make it work for you, I would say absolutely do not worry or screw around with counting calories early on in your journey. And I know that's hard. I know a lot of you don't want to hear that. You come to me, you're out of shape, you're obese, whatever the situation may be, you've got all these problems and stuff, and it's a hard pill for a lot of dudes to swallow when they come to me. They'll come to me like, hey man, I really want to lose X amount of weight. I feel awful all the time. This is terrible. My doctor says I need to make a change, and I've tried everything and it doesn't work, and blah blah blah. All the stuff I went through, I hear it. It's almost like verbatim. It's case by case. There's like minor differences, but almost everybody is damn near the same. And they come to me with the same issues, like, man, I'm so overweight, I'm so out of shape, I can't keep up with my kids, I can't do this, can't do that. And then as I start talking to them, I realize it goes far beyond being overweight, being obese, having to, lose 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds, whatever the case may be. You find, man, I'm dealing with these back pains, I got this knee joint inflammation, I can't sleep, I got depressed, I get chest pains, I have acid reflux, indigestion, all kinds of different stuff, which is indicative of a lot of problems in the body. And that's the first thing I tell people is don't count calories, because you need your body to heal. And you're going to be eating a lot of fat and a lot of protein that is going to go in there and start rebuilding and working on a lot of stuff that's wrong with you. It happened to me. It happens to pretty much everybody that I work with and help out. And it's the same. I see it over and over again. They get started on it. They start eating optimal amounts of protein. they start eating optimal amount of fat, they start losing body fat, their inflammation starts healing up, and things just start getting better. Their hormones rebalance, testosterone levels go up, all that kind of stuff. So what I always say is these calories are going to help you heal. It's going to be, like I said, a tough pill to swallow. When you're a fat, out of shape guy, the last thing you want to hear is, because it's been beaten in our head so long, well, first thing I want you to do is just keep eating. You know what I mean? Because that's what got me here in the first place, was eating like so much and eating like shit all the time. And it's like, no, honestly, you have to just keep eating, but just eating the right kind of foods and letting your body heal. You will find, when I finally started upping how many calories, I was not paying attention to how many calories I was eating, and I know I was eating more calories than I was when I was counting, I actually lost weight because my body started using more energy that it stored up, and it started actually healing other parts of my body. So that is one thing I always recommend when you're starting out for that reason, is just let your body heal. Another reason I tell people no at first, especially at first, is when you're getting started on a new diet if you're starting a carnivore diet, you're here as a last resort, and you're hurting and you're in pain and you're out of shape and you're dissatisfied with yourself. Odds are that's going to be overwhelming enough. And then I'm going to sit here and throw counting calories at you on top. It's too much. It's too much to overwhelm somebody with making this huge lifestyle change and then throwing other curveballs at them. It's all about keeping it simple as possible. That's my approach to it. Keep it simple, stupid, or whatever you want to say. And it's just, I don't want to have people overwhelmed. So I say, just eat the right kind of stuff. Be strict on what you're eating and don't worry about how much. And that way you're happy. It's like a happy medium. You're getting used to not eating maybe some of the foods that your brain has told you it loves having all the time, but you're able to sit and eat a lot and be satiated all the time. So you're not worrying about, I have to restrict, because carnivore is a restrictive diet, they say, right? So if you go to it with that mindset of, man, it's already restrictive enough, but I have to restrict calories too, it's too much. It's too much to ask of somebody. They're not going to succeed. So it's one baby, simple step at a time. Just start eating the right kind of foods at first. It doesn't matter how much. I don't care if you have a big appetite. I would eat till I'm stuffed. I promise you, I assure you, it is going to work out. You're going to start seeing results, and no matter how much you're eating. So in that regard, I say don't worry about counting calories for that reason as well. Everybody's body kind of has like this set point, from what I've kind of noticed in working with people and from myself. Like, it's crazy for me. I always wanted to get like super like light on my feet and stuff like that. I was kind of like, when I first started out, I was like, I should get down. I want to see what under 200 pounds is like, which I don't think I've been under 200 pounds since like the middle of high school. And I just got to a point where I realized it's not realistic for me. My body kind of seems to like this happy medium where it's like around 230 to 240 pounds, in that range. And I'm sitting kind of like on the high end of that right now, but kind of working my way down. And without doing some extra, like counting calories or like, going to like OMAD every day, and which is just basically a way to restrict calories, right? And all that kind of stuff. That's the only way I can kind of get beyond this point where my body just gets down to like 240 pounds. It doesn't look perfect, it's not what I want to be when I go walking out on a beach in, the end of September, but I feel awesome. And I see results changing over time. It's just, I get to this weight where it's like 240 pounds, 230 pounds, and then I sit there, but I still see changes. So I'm kind of maintaining that weight that my body seems to like to be at. This is all just a theory of mine, guys. You can do further research somewhere else and tell me I'm full of shit if you want. I really don't care, because it's just what I've noticed with me, myself, even my son. My son's sitting like at 220 pounds right now, and he looks great there. He feels great there. He's just seems to be like his optimal weight. And I've seen that over and over and over with so many people. They hit this plateau, this sticking point, and I'm like, let's just sit there for a while and see if we can stay at that weight. but start to see abs show at that weight, or start to see more muscle definition at that weight, and that tells me you're building muscle at that weight and losing fat kind of at the same time. So it's something to think about. Maybe you hit a sticking point and you want to go beyond that. You can kind of throw some of the calorie counting in there, or you sit there and see if you can just recomposition yourself. And that's just basically it. I say don't count them unless you really need to. You have some crazy goal or something's just not working for you and you need to do something a little different. But anyway, that was a long video, much longer than I was anticipating. So that should about do it for today, guys. And as always, I got links to my social media down in the description of the video. Also, head over to lion-dads.com. The link to that's down there as well. Get a hold of me on there or just learn more about Lion Dads. You can click the link in the website, join the online community, get access to the Discord server, go over all kinds of different stuff, not just carnivore diet related stuff, but all stuff related to being a dad. I also have a lot of stuff coming up planned for the future, very near future, that I'll be announcing here on my YouTube channel in the next couple of weeks. So please keep coming back. Please stay tuned for that. I'm pretty fired up about it. I can't wait to tell you guys about what I've got coming up. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Catch you later.